Hey, what's up? I just wanted to talk some Diablo 4 because I haven't been playing it in like 2 weeks. Unfortunately, burnout occurred, and I'm a little salty with the developers. I apologize for the air conditioner. I know everyone's talked about this stuff, but I just want to give my take. I really enjoyed the game. I got my money's worth. I have 3 100s, and my barb's like 72. Yeah, two of my characters were power leveled to 70, then I played them legit through. I'm saving a Necro for Season 2, which is when the game will be fixed. So it's almost like we were in a beta test ever since release. I did enjoy it. I was happy with it. It was just endgame was brutal, and that is in part due to how people were exploiting rerunning the same sigils. The sigils, okay, the endgame of Diablo, you kill Echo Lilith, and then you run sigil dungeons, which when you find these sigils, they give affixes that can penalize you or buff you or give you bonuses. And what happened was people learned that you could pass party lead, decline, then pass back, however you want to do it. You could rerun the same sigil on repeat endlessly. And people were doing this with Blind Burrows and then Surat's Lair, Altars, Eldhaney, all these dungeons. Specifically Blind Burrows for a month straight and then Surat's for weeks straight, which are practically the same thing, slightly different with the boss fight. The entrance and exit are different. I was so sick of killing spiders and poison, it was just getting ridiculous. And I think that was happening to a lot of people. The end game was meant, all the dungeons were meant to be ran, right? And that didn't happen. And everyone just wanted to abuse the top tier ones, which I get, but it got boring quick. I mean, let's be honest. You weren't supposed to have a perfect rolled dungeon, and you weren't supposed to be running the same dungeon endlessly. You were supposed to have to craft and re-roll and grind them, and then, you know, run the different dungeons to grind them, but the devs really messed that up. They also messed up the power leveling, like getting a character 1 to 70 in several hours was absolutely ridiculous, and I wasn't spending my time leveling legitimately, but all they had to do was put an EXP cap. If you were level 1 through 40 in a group with a 90 running any tier dungeon, you shouldn't have got any XP, or they should have made it so minimal that it's worth just leveling yourself. The devs messed that up, and all anyone was doing was sitting at spawn, letting someone power level them through for gold on repeat, the same repeat dungeons. Now, they have fixed the dungeon exploit. I have not played since. I mean, I'm sure it makes sigil crafting a bit better, and you can't just rerun the same dungeons like before. I get that, but it's like it's a little too late. There's a plethora of issues with the game, and it's such a great game, and I still love the game. The stash, there's not character specific stash space. It's shared between all your characters, so you're struggling with room. There should be at least one tab to put your kitted builds within those stash spaces. Are they going to release an armory? I don't know. So that's been whack and annoying. They added one extra stash space. You need character specific stash space. You know, I have 2-3 builds per character. It takes up 50% of the inventory stash space. There's plenty of things that should just be done differently. Gems should have their own tab. Sigils, aspects. You know, there's a lot of. They really dropped the ball with the inventory. It just is what it is. And I can't believe they released the seasonal rotation for dungeons. They put Surat's in there, so it was like Blind Burrows 2.0. I can't believe they did that. They should have forced people to run a different dungeon type, a different layout, different mobs. I know it's all the same in reality, but like the aesthetics, right? I'm trying to think of what else. Resistances have been bugged and non-existent for a long time. It took them weeks to fix a looting system for the druid and barbarian. You know, the druids were getting barb drops. They added uniques to the Helltide chests, and people abused it and got like numerous Shakos, the Holy Grail items. Just, they really biffed a lot of the excitement out of the game. And it is what it is. Season 2, they announced 5 endgame bosses, which is another issue. The fact you can't rerun Duriel and Dariel and stuff like that. You should be able to rerun those bosses and farm. That was like a big aspect of D2. And the game really hit the Diablo 2 nostalgia. That's why I played it so hard for so long. I love that nostalgia-driven feel from D1 and D2. But they biffed that too. You couldn't rerun any of the campaign bosses. They only had the Butcher as like a surprise boss. They could have had numerous amounts of hidden mobs that could have came out. You know, it's very lazy, but like the overall game's phenomenal. It's huge. They did such a good job, and then they just went lazy with certain parts of it. And I knew this the whole time when I got to endgame, and right when I saw the sigil exploit and the, you know, passing the lead stuff happening, I'm like, man, this is gonna ruin the game. And they let it go on for 2 months. They claim they couldn't fix it due to some type of coding or whatever. It's just, the fact it went on for like a month is just ridiculous, and it really hurt the game. And then gold duping occurred, I guess, around the time when I quit. They really messed up. Like D2 was so great because it was so secure for so long, you know. And when people are just abusing things, and it just takes the excitement out of the game. That's just my take. Season 2, I feel like the game will finally be near where it should have been at release. We'll see. I'll probably return then. I may dabble on my Barb, get him up a bit, but I don't know. The burnout occurred, and it's a shame. And then I think they made an announcement that Diablo 5 won't take as long as Diablo 4, which, why are you even mentioning Diablo 5? Like, you tarnished Diablo 4, you know? And then we could talk about the balance updates. Like, they buffed everything, then nerfed a few classes, rebalanced them up. Like, they're all over the place. They really biffed it. I'm hoping Season 2 is much better, and I hope they bring in Mephisto, Diablo, and bring in some more bosses to grind out. I mean, I'll give it a whirl again. I still like the game a lot. It's just they really messed it up, man. And now they're, like, spouting, you know, easier farming for Holy Grails, and like, I don't know, man. They're all over the place. And the Malignant Hearts, like, it's fun and all, but it was ridiculous. Like the Barber Gem, like the Barber Heart and all this. It made stuff OP, and then everyone's numbers were adding into one proc. It was just like, I don't know, man. They just messed a lot up. It is what it is. You go on all day. I'm pretty sure the player base is dwindling. Like, all my friends that were playing dropped out. The hardcore D2 fans like me, I saw a couple of us were still online there for like a few weeks, and then we dropped out too, man. Season 2, once I got the character to 100, and then, you know, power level the second one, it was just whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to sound whiny. Sorry if I do. It's just my opinion. They really dropped the ball. It's such a great game. Like, the campaign experience into end game was phenomenal, and then the legit end game, you know, they just messed up. We'll see how Season 2 is. I think they're changing the direction, but the fact that the game will have 4.5 months out by then, and it will finally be like out of its beta when it was released. This is basically a beta test for Endgame, man, is what it is. And then you have Path of Exile 2 releasing all these gameplay clips that just look phenomenal. And they won't drop the ball, man. You know, the beta tests are next year, next summer, and then the game, I don't know when it releases, 6 to 12 months after that. So I feel like Path of Exile 2 is going to come in and just ground stomp Diablo 4, and like Diablo 5, who's going to trust them? The D2 devs are gone, man. Like, I got to just accept that Diablo 2 Resurrected was a gem, but played it through, did all I could again. It is what it is. That's my take. I don't really get much viewership on my Twitch, but that's why I dropped off Diablo. I'll make a return in October. And like, it just wasn't as fun playing, you know, with nobody. Like, everyone quit. what's the point? I'm not going to sit there and stack gold. I know people were stacking billions of gold and whatever. Like, what's the point, dude? You're wasting your time. But yeah, it's a shame. We'll see what happens in season 2, man. Later.